Hello, welcome to All or Nothing TV. I'm Andy Brassell here in freezing London. Hope it's a bit warmer where you are. We've been warmed up a little bit by the Copa del Rey action this week. I think a lot more people have been watching that in the UK than normal due to all the postponements here in the UK caused by the freak weather. But a few shocks as well to excite us along the way. Deportivo winning at Valencia in the first leg of their last 16 game, and Sevilla winning at Barcelona in which was a terrific cup tie, and Sevilla deservedly winning, I think, in the end. Barcelona's passing not quite as crisp as normal, but Zlatan Ibrahimovic coming on as substitute to great effect again, just as he did against Real Madrid in the big game before Christmas, scoring the equalising goal. Unfortunately for Barcelona, they conceded again straight away and ended up losing, so it didn't have the decisive effect as it did against El Real, but it shows how effective Zlatan has been for them. I think we all know that anyway, even though some people won't be happy until he scores a hat-trick in the Champions League final to prove that he's got it for the big occasion. Nevertheless, I don't feel yet that Barcelona have completely realised the potential of how they can use Ibrahimovic, and it's an interesting point that Vieira and Balotelli made in analysing the game, that from the one straight long ball that Barcelona played, Ibrahimovic took advantage and they scored. And this is something that Barcelona need to use more, I feel, as a second option. We all know how they play wonderful football through the midfield, but this is the versatility that Ibrahimovic provides. It's not just that when Messi comes inside he can provide a better return ball to Messi that Eto'o can, but also that he is the long ball option if that's what they need to crack something open. If we look at this here, of course we have this tremendous midfield backed by Busquets, Xavi and Iniesta. That's where all the creativity comes from, but it's all through the centre. Anything coming from the wings comes from Alves or Abidal, because usually Messi, when he gets the ball, will cut inside, as will often Thierry Henry too. So really this is the extra option. Now Marquez, of course, playing that long ball in the week. This is something that Piqué can do. Gerard Piqué has become more and more important in the way that Barcelona play, and not only can he bring the ball out of defence in the same manner as, say, Rio Ferdinand or someone like that, but he can play accurate long balls. So he is the man who will be charged with bringing it up, bypassing all that fantastic midfield and bringing it up to Ibrahimovic. And it could be an important way to crack a game open. This is something that they struggled with sometime, especially last season when they were taking on Chelsea, for example, in the Champions League final, semi-final. Chelsea really managed to nullify them, getting a lot of men behind the ball and getting organised, and frustrated Barcelona, causing a tactical switch in the second leg where they moved Eto'o to the right wing and Messi into the centre, still with limited effect. Now they can bypass all of that with Zlatan. It's a bit of a change of philosophy, but it's something they may have to take on if they're going to reprise their winning of La Liga and the Champions League this season, although their Copa del Rey crown does already look in jeopardy after that result. Now, of course, they've got a few problems in midfield as well. Barcelona with Yaya Toure and Seydou Keita going off to the African Cup of Nations. Now, there was talk of Patrick Vieira going in as a short-term substitute from Inter Milan, but now it looks as if Vieira is nailed on for Manchester City, having a medical there yesterday. It always looked like a choice between Manchester City and Lyon for Vieira. Vieira would have been quite keen to make the move to Lyon, but they never really made him feel wanted. A lot of the comments of the advisor to the president there, Bernard Lacombe, his thoughts were, is Vieira up to it anymore? I think if they'd have shown a bit more trust, a bit more faith in him, a bit more belief in him, he would have felt wanted enough to go there. But in fact, his former boss Roberto Mancini has taken him up on that. Now, a lot of people have said, is Vieira physically up to it? This is a guy who's only started 17 games in Serie A in the last 2 seasons, and of course that's a fair point. Of course he's not the model of fitness perhaps and physical prowess that he once was, although he's still a formidable competitor. But I think it's not just what he can provide on the pitch, but what he can provide in the dressing room as well, and Mancini will know as well. Him being the guy who brought him to the San Siro in the first place from Juventus after the Calciopoli scandal, and it's something that France have missed as well. Of course, this is Vieira's main aim, to get back into the France setup. He's not played a competitive international under Ramon Domenech since November 2007, and he's desperate to get to that first World Cup in Africa, so that's a lot of the motivation behind his move. Now, a lot of people in France said that after the France-Ireland playoff, in which France was so poor, Vieira was the biggest winner, because this is what this France team lacks. There's a lot of good quality in that squad, but no leaders, and that is something that Vieira is. He's a leader, he's a winner, and if he can pass on a little bit of that to Manchester City, maybe they'll be able to realise their dream of getting into the Champions League this season. But as well, he can provide something on the pitch, and if we look at this diagram here, this could be something that, again, Mancini will reprise from his Inter time, a sort of three-man shield in front of the defence. Vieira, as we say, doesn't really have the legs to bomb forward as much as he used to be able to, and go box to box, but he has De Jong and Barry in front of him to do that. And that three-man shield may look overly defensive. Of course, City's defence is something that needs to be looked at. They've conceded comfortably the most goals of the top six up to this point, although they've not conceded any in three under Mancini. But this would be an interesting barrier in front of the central defence there, allowing Tevez and Bellamy plenty of freedom, not so much obligation to come back, and so the front three can really do their thing and do what they do best at City. Now, I think before we go, we should probably look at Inter as well. They returned to Serie A action this week with the first game of the Wednesday programme against Chievo, and winning there with a goal by Mario Balotelli. But of course, we have the news today that Balotelli was fined €7,000 for his sarcastic applause to the home fans after he was substituted, after he received various chants and racial abuse. Now, I feel this is a terrible precedent. I think a lot of people wouldn't have blamed Balotelli if he'd have turned around and given the fans the finger or sworn at them, but he didn't do that. He just dealt with it in the best way that he felt he could. And a lot of people say that he's a difficult character, especially after his various fallouts with Jose Mourinho, and people have questioned his attitude. What we should be questioning, I think, is why someone who's only 19 isn't receiving more support from his club and from the Italian Olympic Committee to combat this problem. Chievo thus far haven't been sanctioned for their supporters' behaviour, and I think this sets a terrible precedent. Balotelli is going to be a great player, whichever club he plays for in the future, and probably for Italy as well. So I think really people need to get behind him, understand that he's someone of 19 years old who shouldn't have to face these problems on his own, and we can only hope that he enjoys better fortune for the rest of the season. Well, thanks for joining us. There'll be a bit more on www.allornothingtv.net as the weeks progress. Maybe find me on Soccer Lens as well on Mondays. I hope you enjoy the weekend games if they beat the Freeze wherever you are. So enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you again soon.